Me to be a part of this group and sharing a message that I am just so passionate about. It really did speak to my heart when I started reading the Word, and this message came through, and it just really spoke to me. And the salt of the earth lifestyle really became something that I became passionate about, and in fact, really kind of shifted a lot of my life in some respects. And so let me share a little bit about myself. Whoops, let me get to the next slide. There we go. So my name is Gary Gregory. I am a transformational leadership coach. And I firmly believe that we all have a super fantastic. And what I mean by that is I believe that everyone here, everyone in the world is divinely gifted by God, a special gift, skill, or talent that they have. And when they develop it, when they have the awareness to develop that gift, skill, or talent, then they can design a fantastic environment, a fantastic circumstance around them. And so that's why I hang on to this tagline, create your super fantastic, because for me, that means when you really develop the gifts, skills, and talents that God has given you, you can create a better environment around you. So the fun thing is, you know, CC was going to share a little bit about me. I'll share a little bit with you. So I have been in the multifamily apartment business for over 20 years, including student housing. I'm a former sponsored triathlete, meaning I would swim, bike, and run for crazy distances. I would do ultra marathons running for 26, 50 miles just because. And I wanted, just because I wanted to challenge myself. So that was a lot of fun things. And then the other great thing that, of course, I'm my most proud accomplishment is being a husband to my wife, Marianne, and having 4 kids, ranging from ages. Get this, we have kids from 26 to 9. So quite the spread of kids we've got, but it's an amazing family God has blessed me with. And then the other thing that I'm pretty proud of is writing 2 books, co-authoring one of the books. I'm a best-selling author. The one that we're going to talk about today is the SUPERFANTASTIC Principles. And this is one that is based off of one phrase. Yes. And the great thing is guys, all of you are going to get a copy of this book. I'm going to give this book to Cece so she can send it off to you guys, just because I truly believe in this message and I want to share that with you. So I will get that to Cece, and everyone that's on this call gets a copy of the book. So yay, I'm excited for you. Thanks, Bonnie. So there's one message in the Bible that really touched me. And when I read it, I paused. And when I paused, I read this message. There was this message in Matthew 5:13. This is Jesus speaking, and he says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot." And I read that message, and it just really, it struck me. There was so much to this message that I really had to start digging into it. And there were some things that stood out to me in this message. Now, one is this, this was a part of the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus was speaking to all of his people. So Matthew 5:1-12, you'll find Sermon on the Mount. There's a lot to that and a lot we can unpack. The other thing that stood out to me was Jesus was declaring something. He was saying, "You are." And we're going to unpack that one again as well. And then he mentioned salt. Kind of a weird kind of thing. We've all got salt on our tables. We've all put salt on our food. We cook with salt. It seems like an odd thing to call us. So I unpacked that even more. Why would he even say salt? Sounds weird, right? And then the other thing that really struck me was there was a spirit of stewardship, because he said, if you don't use it, how can you make salt salty again? So I was like, oh man, use it or lose it, right? This really struck me significantly. Just this one little paragraph in the Bible, Matthew 5:13, for me, unpacks so much revelation. And so the first thing I wanted to share is the sermon. So this is part of the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is, he's early in his ministry. He just got baptized by John, and he's out here speaking to people that are willing to open their hearts and listen to him. And he's trying to his focus was to truly say, hey, this is how you live life to please God. And he was shifting our mindsets. This is the whole context of where this phrase comes from, is he was shifting the mindset of all the people from, instead of living under rules and laws, he was shifting our mindsets to think, let's live under grace and mercy. It was a total shift. And this is where he began that message. And if you package all of this together, that includes the Beatitudes. So the Beatitudes is, blessed are those. And if you translate a little bit differently from the Greek to English, blessed actually means happy. And so, if you kind of rephrase it, it says, happy are those who mourn because they know comfort comes in, from God. And so there's so much to it. He talked about salt and light. He talked about, explaining a little bit more about a lot of questions that people had, including murder, adultery, divorce, oaths, an eye for an eye, love your enemies, giving. And he also shared something so impactful, the Lord's Prayer. And he was providing this wisdom to all of us, which is absolutely amazing, all packaged together. But there was this one little message in there, you are the salt of the earth, that really struck to me. And if you think about it, Jesus was saying, you are. He didn't say you are like salt. He said you are salt. And to me, that was such a powerful declaration from Jesus. There was such a big difference because he declared it. He identified who we are. We are salt of the earth. And that when Jesus says I'm something, I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to do my best to live up to that. If Jesus says I am salt of the earth, then that's what I'm going to work towards. That's a divine assignment for me, for all of us to work towards. So that was really powerful to me. And then I started thinking, well, why salt? What an odd thing. If you first start thinking about it, of course, we're just thinking about table salt on the table. We see it everywhere, little salt packets. It's in a salt shaker. It's everywhere. So I started unpacking a little bit more about what salt meant culturally at that time. And so as I started researching this a little bit more, what did salt mean at that time that Jesus was sharing this message? Well, if you think about it, and I was doing some research, they used salt to preserve food. They didn't have refrigeration back then. And so without salt, they couldn't preserve food that they caught. They would starve. And so it was such a vital element. It also added food flavoring. And you can even unpack some scientific research. I'm a little bit of a nerd, okay, a lot of a nerd. But if you unpack what salt does for food, not only does it flavor it, but it can make bitter things sweet. Think about that. Salt can make bitter things sweet. To me, that was just like huge. Another reference for salt is it was used for salary. That's how the Roman soldiers were paid in salt. And in fact, that's where we get the word salary from, is salt. That's how valuable salt was. And another interesting thing is when two people were making an agreement, they would bind that agreement instead of signing on the dotted lines, signature on that contract. They would both take a little bit of salt. And once they agreed to that agreement, they would both eat some salt. And that meant the contract was binding. Like how amazing is that? It also, they used it throughout the Bible about describing your speech. Flavor your speech with salt, flavor it well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then another thing they talked about was they used salt to disinfect wounds. So if somebody got injured, they got cut, then they would use a little bit of salt to prevent people from getting ill, prevent the infection from coming in, to save that person from an injury. Think about that. And unpacking what salt meant was such an incredible revelation. Jesus called us, "You are the salt of the earth." And then when you really look into what salt meant, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible. You're preserving food, you're flavoring food, you're turning something bitter into sweet. It was so valuable that it was considered money. You were binding agreements, you were describing your speech, and you were saving people's lives using salt back at that time. Absolutely amazing. And so all of this information that I researched and figured out, okay, what did all this culturally mean at the time that Jesus said this? I was like, all right, this is something powerful for me. And so what I did was I came up with the 4 concepts of the salty principles. And that's what I wrote this book on, the SUPERFANTASTIC Principles. So for me, there were 4 main components when it came to salt: balance, flavor, value, and relationship. Those are the 4 things that came together that I could group. These are the principles of salt that I researched, and I was able to group them together. And so what I did is I started expanding. I started exploring, all of these things in my life, and how can I become a salt of the earth person. So the first thing that I kind of researched was balance. Okay, salt can create balance, and balance is important in your life. And in fact, salt is so critical in human life that when your salt levels are off balance in your life, then you get sick. I mean, think about it. When you're out there running around or working hard and you're sweating, you're losing salt. And if you don't replenish that salt, then you lose balance. You become, you pass out because you don't have balance. So I was like, how powerful is that? But it also talks about choice. And so all of us have an opportunity to choose balance. And choosing balance is like working out a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. But what are we working out? What is that muscle? What is that choice? What is that balance that we're trying to create? So I talked about it, design or default, or more importantly, transactional or transformational. And this was really, really valuable to me. So a lot of us, if you talk about, if you look at the people around us, the social norms or the civil inattention, if you will, is people will try to mind their own business. They don't help others. They don't engage with others. Everyone's just trying to kind of keep themselves in a little box, very transactional. I don't want to engage. I don't want to help others. Now, of course, Cece is breaking the mold by offering this ministry, and it's absolutely incredible, by being transformational and doing the things that she can do to help others. And that is creating balance against the world that is going transactional, where they don't want to engage. So for me, the questions that I ask when it comes to balance is, what things are you allowing to happen to you? I mean, think about that. What are some of the things that you allow to happen to you? A lot of us just let life happen. It is what it is. This is the way we've always done it. So we're just letting life happen to us. So the balance to that is, what things are you allowing to happen because of you? And so this balance with allowing to happen to you versus allowing to happen because of you is critical. And Cece has made such an incredible choice, an incredible decision to be transformational. And she's creating things. She's allowing things to happen because of her. She's taken the initiative to be transformational, to do above and beyond what's expected of her. She's wanting to become a salt of the earth person. So she has created this ministry to help others. That's transformational. That's amazing. That's absolutely salt of the earth lifestyle right there. And so one of the things that a little story that I like to share is, my dad, when I was little, used to embarrass me all the time when we go grocery shopping. Because whenever we got to the front to check out, whomever was checking us out, all of our groceries, running it through the scanner. Well, that time they didn't have scanners. It was actually manual entry. But my dad would always engage, always talk to the cashier, ask the name, how are they doing today? Really start having a conversation with them. And for me as a little kid, I was thinking, Dad, why are you talking to this person? You're embarrassing me. But as I grew older, I realized my dad was creating a transformational moment. He was doing more than what was expected. Everyone else that went through that line never even looked at that cashier, never talked to that cashier, never created a moment with that cashier. But my dad set an example of engaging and talking and creating a conversation, making that cashier feel amazing because of a conversation. And that's what my dad was doing to create a transformational moment, to shift the balance from being very transactional to being transformational. And that was an incredible example. And so my challenge to you is, I want you to do a keep balance challenge. I'd love for you to write this down. If you could, is just write down keep a balance. So I'm going to challenge all of you guys, the next time you go to the store or you go out to eat and maybe you have a waiter or waitress to serve you, engage with that individual. Tell them they're doing an amazing job. Use their name. I promise you, when you have that kind of engagement, that becomes transformational versus transactional. And when you do the transformational, you're shifting the balance to something better. You're making that person's day. It's an incredible little act that you can do for someone else that can transform their day simply by using their name, asking how they're doing, give them a compliment, and be in that moment with them. It really does make a difference. Now, the second component of SALT for me, of course, was flavor. I mean, think about it. Salt, we use it for flavoring and everything. And then, I was going through life and I realized I had all these stories. What did flavor really mean? And so I came up with 3 things: attitude, experience, conviction. That's where me as a person, or all of us as people, can really add flavor to the world around us. We can change a bitter situation to something sweet. That's what salt can do to food. Maybe that's what we can do to the people around us. So attitude is such a powerful thing. All of us can choose our attitude. In fact, this gentleman that I met at Taco Bell, call him David, he had the most amazing attitude as I was going through the drive-thru, and he was super excited about me being there, telling me I had made the best order at Taco Bell that he had seen that whole day, and thanked me for everything, and was just a positive attitude. I actually had to go inside and talk to him after I placed my order at Taco Bell. I got out of my truck and went in and asked him, I was like, tell me why. Why do you have such a great attitude? He's like, you know what? I've been in places where people didn't want me, and I chose, when I had a chance, that I would create a better opportunity. I would have a better attitude for other people. I was blown away. He was adding flavor just simply by choosing his attitude. The other thing is experience. All of us have experience, good, bad, indifferent, all over kinds of experience. But the incredible thing is from that experience, we can make things better. In fact, Dr. Ernie was a doctor in El Paso. My daughter was sick for a while, and Dr. Ernie came in and he made a huge difference. Because, most doctors, when they come to see your kids, they're very clinical, checking the boxes, in and out, and done. Not this doctor. He took time to connect with my child. He spoke with her. He played with her. He connected with her. And I had to ask him, I was like, Dr. Ernie, why are you so different? Why are you engaging with my daughter and making things better? And you know what he shared with me? He said, Gary, I was in the hospital at one point in time, and it was the worst experience of my life. And he said, from that experience, I promised myself I would change that for every person that I encountered in the future. So here was Dr. Ernie using this experience, this bad experience, and he was changing it to something good. He was adding flavor to a bitter situation to make it sweet. And so Dr. Ernie created what could have been such a very, uncomfortable, sad, anxiety-ridden experience being in the hospital with your daughter into something good because of the experience, something that he changed, something bitter into something sweet, adding his experience to make it better. And then conviction. Oh, this is one of my favorite stories. I know this person, and I purposefully, intentionally, every time I see her, I ask her, hey, how you doing? Because I know she is convicted to tell me each and every time, Gary, I am blessed and highly favored of the Lord. Every time. And she has such conviction with that. And I love every time I ask her that question, how you doing? She responds with conviction, blessed and highly favored of the Lord. Now, Ronika, her story is incredible. She has so many obstacles that she went through and so many, struggles and things that should have ended her, but it only made her stronger. And to this day, she has a conviction. She has the confidence to say, you know what? Because of all these things, I chose to be confident in who I am today. And if you ever ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to tell you, blessed and highly favored of the Lord. That's the flavor that she's adding to each and every person that comes around her. Flavor is absolutely amazing. There's so many things a salt of the earth person can do when you're adding flavor, because you can change a bitter into a sweet situation. So what does that mean? I got a couple of questions for you. What influences your attitude? There's a lot of things out there that can influence our attitude, right? So my next question is, what does your attitude influence? Are you making things better because you chose a poor attitude, or do you let somebody else choose your attitude? Maybe somebody cut you off on the road and you spilled your coffee a little bit, and so you got mad and now your attitude is mad. But here we go. You get to choose your flavor. You get to choose your attitude. Don't let that person that cut you off choose your attitude for you. You get to influence others by your attitude. The other thing is, what do you use from your experience that can be helpful to others? Just like Dr. Ernie, he never wanted anybody to experience a poor, circumstance inside a hospital. So he used his bad experience and changed it into something good. You can do the same thing. All of us have experienced something bad in our lives, but we can change it into something good. And then my last question for you is, what do you believe in? Do you believe in you? Or are you believing in other people? Or are you believing in things? So that's a really valuable question to ask yourself. What are you believing in? Hopefully we're all believing in God. I encourage you to believe in God. Put your trust and faith in God. But what are you believing in next? You're a daughter of the Most High. Believe in you. Don't believe in other people. Don't believe in things. Those are great questions. So I have a flavor challenge for you. This is what I'd love for you guys to do, is find an opportunity to bring your positive, godly attitude somewhere. You know what? Just bring it. People are going to look at you funny maybe, but you know what? You're going to impact their day in a positive way just by choosing a godly attitude. And then also find an experience. This is my other challenge to you, is find one of your experiences in the past that you can shift, that you can change from bitter to sweet to help somebody else. All of us have these experiences that we can shift and change from bitter to sweet. So look for an experience in your life that you can make somebody else's experience better because you don't want them to go through the same thing. And then when somebody asks you how you're doing, don't ever say good. Don't ever say fine. I want you to find something that really elevates that response. Just like my friend Ronika says, blessed and highly favored of the Lord. No matter all the obstacles and struggles she went through in the past, that's what she responds with. I want you guys to find your flavor. Find something when people ask you, hey, how you doing? That is what an incredible way to become a salt of the earth person and show and share, you know what? I'm amazing. I'm super. God woke me up today. I am blessed and highly favored. Whatever you want to use, but take it up a notch. Take it up a God notch on that. The other thing that I love about salt is value. Salt really was valuable in those days. And so I found three things that really resonated with me when it came to value. One is awareness. The other one is enthusiasm, and then also influence. And so I can tell you this story, awareness. This is an incredible story. I'm at a wedding and we're all sitting around and one of the kids spilled a drink. And before any of us could get up, grab a napkin and clean it up, there was this waiter come running around the corner, cleaned it up as soon as he saw it. And that added value to our day. It didn't take away from us enjoying the wedding, the party and everything by having to stop, pick up, clean up and everything. He was watching to make sure he helped us before we needed to ask for help. The other thing that I find in value is your enthusiasm can really add value to other people. So I had this waitress one time. I was in an airport in San Diego, and we were waiting for our plane, but we had enough time to eat. And so we went to this restaurant inside the airport, and I asked the waitress, "Hey, what's good?" She shared with us that the most amazing thing on that menu was the open egg-faced sandwich. She said it was better than all the other things on that menu, and because I asked, she highly encouraged me to get this open-faced egg sandwich because it was absolutely amazing and it would be the perfect breakfast for me. And so you know what I ordered? The open-faced egg sandwich because of her enthusiasm. She was excited about it. I wasn't going to order anything else on that menu because she added value to me. She helped me make that decision, and she added that enthusiasm. And you know what? It was the best breakfast I've ever had in a long, long time. The other thing is influence. Now, I have written some books, but it wouldn't have happened had I not met somebody that influenced me, somebody that encouraged and supported me. Mike Rodriguez is that guy, and he was the one that asked me a simple question. "Hey, Gary, do you want to write a book?" And I said yes. And once I said yes, this guy, Mike Rodriguez, influenced me on the whole journey to be able to write a book and to become a best-selling author, not once, but twice. Because he influenced me, he added value to my life to do something that I may never have done ever again, or would never have done. Who would have thought of writing a book? But you know what? He asked me if I wanted to. I said yes. And you know what? He helped me along the journey. That was amazing value that he added to my life. I'll never forget the open-faced egg sandwich. I'll never forget that young waiter picking up that spilled drink. And I'll never forget Mike for influencing me to write books. And that's the value that these people added to my life in simple ways. And so I want to ask you a question. What can you do to be proactive for others? I mean, these are simple things. A lot of us wait to be asked to help, wait to be asked to do something. But you know what? A salt-of-the-earth person is going to add value to other people by simply being proactive and maybe helping in little ways before even being asked. I mean, what an incredible way to add value to somebody. The other thing is, what energy are you bringing? If somebody asks you a question, are you simply saying, meh, whatever? Are you just like right here? No, a salt-of-the-earth person will bring value, will encourage, will bring up the energy by saying, "This is amazing. Absolutely. That's incredible." I get so verklempt, so excited talking about that. Just be excited about it. Even if it tears up your voice, be excited. Add that value to somebody. And then the other question I want to ask you guys, what positive influence are you encouraging in others? Cece's doing an incredible job by offering influence, positive encouragement in so many other people in so many different ways. And that is what a salt-of-the-earth person does to bring value. And I honor Cece for what she does to bring positive influence and encouragement and support to others. That's bringing value. I'm sorry about my voice.
No, you're good.
I get really excited about this stuff. So here's a challenge I want to share with you guys, a share value challenge. I love this. So Find a way. How can you have awareness so you can serve others before they ask? Find a way to kind of like, okay, I see them kind of looking, I see somebody struggling. I'm going to step in and offer a little assistance. They may say yes, they may say no, but you know what? That awareness will be a game changer. Be enthusiastic about things that you do for others. If somebody asks you to do something, you know what? They say, it reads in the Bible, do it as unto the Lord, not unto people. So if you're doing something for somebody, a salt of the earth person will add value by doing it unto the Lord. What an incredible concept. I love it. And then use your influence to encourage and support other people. Just like Mike encouraged me to write books, CC has encouraged you guys through fellowship and support and engagement. Find ways that you can influence and encourage others. That's my value challenge to you. And then the last component is relationship. I found 3 things, I kind of in threes on this one. 3 things that I believe relationship is a component of a SALTy principles. The first one is alignments, appreciation, and gratitude. So alignments, these are the people in your life. This is the circle of people that are going to be there for you when you need them, or they're going to push you. They're going to challenge you. And in fact, I had a friend that pushed me, that challenged me to do something that I had never done before. And that was a triathlon. I was never very athletic growing up. And I tried to go run. I tried to bike and I tried to swim. And I was not doing so well because I was trying. It took this alignment, this person in my life, this person that I trusted, this person that challenged me to push me and to tell me, say, you know what, Gary, you can do this only if you work hard at it. And so, you know what, I did work hard at it. I pushed at it. And that because of this alignment, I became a sponsored triathlete. I ended up completing an Ironman, which is 140.6 miles of moving forward. That's incredible. All because of this alignment pushed me to do something that I never thought I could do. That's the value of an alignment. Appreciation. Now, appreciation is an action, right? So when you appreciate somebody, you act, you do something for them, but it's important to know, how do they like to be appreciated? So knowing your people around you, how do they like to be appreciated? Is it just simply words? Is it gifts? You know, what are the ways? Is it just quality time with that person? But finding ways to do that. And the cool thing that I experienced one time, I was getting on a plane heading out. I don't even remember where anymore. But this gentleman came on and he had a bag of candy. I mean, it was a good sized bag of candy. And what he would do is that as these flight attendants would walk by, he was giving them candy. And the only reason why he was doing it was he just wanted to thank them for the job that they were doing. It was a tough job. Everybody in the airline industry was struggling and, you know, being beat up by unhappy customers and all the things that were going on. He chose to create a relationship and show appreciation to these people that were serving flight attendants, the gate agents, all the people that were helping by showing appreciation, giving them gifts. It was amazing. And then, of course, gratitude. This is a feeling. Gratitude is a feeling that you have, but what it does is when you choose to have this feeling, it embraces relationship with other people. My favorite story is of this gentleman in Atlanta, Georgia. He owns a little restaurant down there in the mall area of downtown Atlanta. And Camille is his name. And he owns a little restaurant down there. And it's lined, the people are lined around the corner to go eat there. And so eventually we got our food and the lines died down. The lunch rush was over. And I stopped and I asked Camille, I was like, Camille, why are people lined up to come to a mall to eat lunch at your little place? And he said, you know what, Gary? I am so grateful. God wakes me up every morning and I get a chance to come down here and I get a chance to make food and serve it to people. And people come to buy my food. And so I am so grateful because when they come to buy my food, that is the money I use to support my family. And so he was sharing this story with me about how he is grateful for every step of the way. Things aren't always easy. Sometimes things are tough, but you know what? In those moments where you can find gratitude, you live with a feeling of gratitude. And that is why he had a line of people wrapped around the corner waiting to eat at his little mall restaurant. That was developing a relationship. Absolutely incredible. And so I want you guys to think about these questions. What could you accomplish with an alignment? I mean, a true alignment, somebody that you can connect with, somebody that you can really trust, somebody that you know is going to call you out when you make a bonehead decision, or you're being stubborn, or you're being something that you shouldn't be. Who is that alignment? What do you think you could do? For me, I've done some things that I never thought I would ever be able to do because of my alignments, and I am so grateful for those. The other question is, what authentic appreciation can you share with others? Is there somebody in your life that you can find out how you can appreciate? Or what are some things that you can do for them? Is it just spending some quality time with them? Is it giving them a little gift? Is it helping them with some chores around the house? Whatever that might be, what kind of appreciation can you share with others? And then what do you do to show gratitude? How are you feeling gratefulness with others? You know, my wife does so much stuff for our family and our kids, and I could easily take those things for granted. But you know what? I feel the gratitude, and I write down each night the things that I'm grateful for, because I know my wife's a stay-at-home mom. We are blessed to be able to do that. She homeschools our kids. And so I am grateful for these things that she does each and every day. I could easily take those for granted, but I write them down because I know how valuable my relationship with her is. And so I want to keep my gratitude up front and center for the things she does for me. So find gratitude, express that gratitude and feeling. So here's my relationship challenge to you guys. Preserve those relationships. Find your alignments. Be an alignment for somebody. Push others to be better, right? Don't let them just kind of flounder. Push them. Be that alignment that holds people accountable for the things that they're doing and push them to be better. Find ways to give authentic appreciation, and then have a spirit of gratitude, even when the worst has been displayed by those other people. There's always a lesson there when you're supporting other people and preserving those relationships, because that's what a salt of the earth person does. And so those are the four components of a salty relationship. But remember, there was a fourth thing that stood out to me when I read Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth. And the last thing that stood out to me was stewardship. Jesus said, what good is salt if it loses its saltiness? You might as well just throw it out on the road and let people walk all over it. That's pretty powerful. So God gives us these divine gifts. He called us the salt of the earth. Think about all the things that salt does, the things that we can do by becoming a salt of the earth person. But we have a responsibility to steward that divine gift from God. Because if we don't, we lose it. And what a terrible thing it would be to lose a gift from God. I mean, we get gifts from people all the time. Some are great gifts, some are not so great gifts. But if God gives us a gift, wow, what an amazing thing. That is the most valuable thing. He gave us Jesus, the most valuable gift in the world. He gives us these divine gifts. He calls us a salt of the earth person. That's who we are. And that's a gift. And so we have a responsibility to steward that well, to make sure we use it to our full advantage to help other people, to create a balance, to add flavor to this world, to bring value, and to preserve relationships. Those are the four things that a salt of the earth person can do. Those are the four things that I researched and uncovered. There may be more, and there probably is. I don't know everything. God knows it all. But that's based on my research, what I found. And so I would encourage you to do that. So remember, a salty principles, you're bringing a balance, transactional to transformational, bring it. You're adding flavor. You can turn something bitter into something sweet by bringing your salt of the earth gift. You can add value. Remember, Salt was salary. Salt was money. But you know what? The things that you can do for other people can bring value. And then relationships. How amazing is that? That is what we are here to do, is to encourage others to be the salt of the earth and to help others through relationship. And that's what a salt of the earth person is a relationship builder, preserving relationships. That, if you do those things, I promise you, you can live a salty lifestyle. That's one of the most amazing things to do, is live a salty lifestyle. And so my final challenge to you is start today. Start now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till things are perfect. Start now. Find a way where you can take this salty challenge. Find one thing. The easiest thing that I found starting this was the thing that my dad used to do to embarrass me. And that was simply talking to that cashier or that waiter, using their name, telling them how amazing they are, and listening to them, being in the moment, because that doesn't happen normally. So it's a small transformational moment. That was what I used. And that's what helped me get to the rest of the principles. And then over the next 14 days, over the next 2 weeks, keep building on these salty principles. Keep sharing the things that you can do, whether it's finding a way to add balance, adding flavor, bringing value, and preserving relationships. Those are the things you can do to live a salt of the earth lifestyle. All right. And then we'll close out. What questions do you have?
I just want to say thank you again, Gary. This is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
As Bonnie said, challenge accepted.
I love it.
Yes, love it. Yeah,
That's,
Pat, this is very good. Amen.
amen.